Hey, I'm Victoria, and according to lots of people, I feel no shame. Well, they're not wrong. I'm not ashamed of anything, and I don't think I ever should be. They told me that I should have at least felt embarrassed when I entered the boys' locker room at school that day. Apparently, my face wasn't red and I wasn't gasping, so they immediately assumed that I was just a shameless creature. Nobody actually realized that I had a very valid reason to do what I did. That's why I've never felt ashamed of any of it. The boys were screaming, the teachers were screaming. Someone even tried to push me out of the locker room. The whole school condemned me. But I knew that I was right, and I wasn't afraid or ashamed or anything like that. Later on, friends told me that my stone face was the most alarming sign for other people. Well, as I've already told you, I had a very valid reason to enter the locker room. You see, it was the first year of our middle school, and a new girl got transferred into our class. All the other kids immediately made her the outcast and turned into practically literal animals hunting her, bullying her. They called it testing her strength. Yeah, whatever. Apparently, the boys had a lot of fun playing football with her bag, or hiding her clothes, or dumping her bag on the school's rooftop. Again and again, I told them that what they were doing was wrong, and even fought them from time to time. Still, I was all alone, and they were many. Honestly, the girl wasn't that important to me. I just don't like bullying. I'm all in for a fair challenge, but when it's an entire pack of howling school children is hunting one girl, that's the opposite of a fair fight. The day of the locker room incident was our swimming day. One of our PE lessons each week is a compulsory swimming lesson. The locker rooms are situated as far from the pool as possible, which is stupid, which means that the students have to move through the whole school before dressing or undressing. The new girl always tried to be the first one to return to the locker room after lesson, but that day she didn't manage it, and the girls threw all of her clothes, including her underwear, to the boys' locker room. The boys were idiots. They immediately started trying on the clothes and even taking photos. Ugh, disgusting. So I decided it was time to right a wrong. And somehow I ended up being the one to blame. The boys yelled that the girls shouldn't enter their locker room. The girls told me that I should feel ashamed to even think about entering some place like that. Isn't that funny? They were perfectly okay stealing somebody's belongings, yet it was I who must have felt ashamed. So at the end of the day, that's how I earned a visit to a therapist. The school's therapist told me that I was all wrong. She told me that I should feel more emotions and that I made a lot of mistakes. Well, I never agreed to that nonsense. Why should I ever feel shame? After all, it wasn't me who did those things. I sincerely believe that bad things are stealing, bullying, and cheating, and I've never done that. Well, yes, granted, I do a lot of weird stuff, but nothing that bad. For example, once I ended up singing songs while standing in a garbage can. You see, there was a bet which I had lost, perfectly reasonable, and so I had to stand singing in that can for a certain amount of time. Weird, yes, but not shameful. And besides that, there was another story that seemed unusual to the therapist. Though I'm pretty sure I did everything right that time, too. Even my parents agree. It all started when our PE teacher got real sloppy. There's a small, shallow lake near our school. Honestly, it's more like a glorified pond. You can't drown there even if you really wanted to. And in the winter, the lake freezes over, and sometimes we're even allowed to skate there. If our PE teacher allows us to do so, that is. That year was pretty warm, and the lake didn't actually manage to freeze over properly. When all of us rushed into the ice, it immediately broke. The majority of the kids managed to get away in time, yet some of us got soaking wet, me included. They immediately called the ambulance, and the EMSs got us out of the lake. No one was afraid that we'd drown, of course, but it was really cold outside, and those of us who got wet might have fallen ill. Most of my classmates got pretty sick. Some got a simple cold, others had bronchitis, and one even got pneumonia. I was the only one who remained perfectly healthy due to paying attention in health class. Our teacher told us that in such cases, a person who got wet should immediately get rid of wet clothes, rub him or herself, and wrap his or herself in a warm blanket. The medics gave us the blankets, and I did the rubbing myself. It never crossed my mind that by doing so, I would appear nude in front of strangers. At that moment, I only cared about saving my health. but the adults deemed my action as horribly immoral. Apparently, a girl should be really, really shy and never undress in front of strangers, even when her life is at stake. No, sorry, I don't think so. I've never understood that logic. It's idiotic. Though I've never cared enough to argue that point with those adults. Let them think like the cavemen that they are for all I care. It's not my job to change their minds. Apparently, they decided that something was obviously wrong with my psyche and told my mom a lot of horrible things about me. Well, whatever. I still don't think that I was wrong or anything. No, my health card says that I'm a psychopath, albeit in a mild form. The medics think that I'm physically unable to feel not only shame, but also sympathy and many other things. As for me, I think they're just coddling themselves by diagnosing me this way. They don't like that someone doesn't value what they do and dare challenge them on it.
Hi all, I'm Mary, Virginia's friend. Well, she thinks that I'm her friend anyway. Unfortunately, I don't really have much of a choice. Earlier, I really didn't know what a sociopath looked like. I always imagined them as characters from horror movies as asylum patients, emotionless creatures, more robots than humans, doing good and bad things with the same frozen smile on their lips. Well, that was so very wrong. You'd never notice a sociopath in a crowd unless you know a person to be one. They are excellent at pretending to be normal humans and always have some peerless logical excuse to any of their weird actions. I know that because I've known Virginia for a very long time. We became acquainted in the preparatory class. She just came straight to me, introduced herself, and told me that she's going to be my friend. I just carelessly agreed to that and asked her to sit down and don't interrupt the teacher. Oh, a grave mistake on my part. Well, at first, I just thought that Virginia was a fearless and really cool girl. She was never afraid of boys and dogs, was always ready to protect both of us, and once even drove off an adult guy who was trying to lure us into the woods. When I was just a kid, I really enjoyed being under her protection. But with age, I realized that Virginia wasn't just brave. Often her decisions seemed just straight up crazy. Small kids shouldn't do such things. When my friend was just an 8-year-old girl, she once saw some homeless men pick up someone's wallet. My friend just ran straight up to them and wrestled the wallet out of their hands. You see that there was no one else on the street, just the two of us and those men. Her decision was really dangerous. Virginia was always prone to impossibly reckless actions. She could easily enter the boys' locker room, get naked in front of a bunch of strangers, or tell the teacher in public that he smelled bad. And besides, she was always able to justify her actions using her insane troll logic. I felt in danger just being near her, but still was too afraid to run away or disobey her. Eventually, I told Virginia that we shouldn't be friends anymore. I told her that I was unable to be her friend. I too was shocked, horrified, and afraid to participate in her endless escapades. I just wanted a normal life with normal acquaintances, not a roller coaster of a friendship. You know how she reacted to that? She didn't. It was as if she never actually heard my words at all. Again and again, she dragged me into her brainless adventures, and again I participated in those escapades out of sheer fear. Well, yeah, I was afraid of leaving her. Since then, I tried dumping our friendship many times. Yet Virginia was always able to find me, drag me out of my hideout, and pull me into another horrible adventure. I wanted nothing of that. She intervened into fights between strangers, went to someone else's yard just to play with their cute dog, and of course, took part in various crazy bets. She was just plain nuts. Still, worst thing is that everybody considered me to be as crazy as Virginia. After all, I was known as her best friend. Therefore, people concluded that I was as crazy and insane as her. I never wanted such a reputation, that's for sure. Well, unfortunately, I'd never be able to make myself a new name as long as I hang out with Virginia. Well, soon, that horrible friendship will finally be over. My parents and I are moving into another city. I'd be transferred to a new school where no one knows about Virginia and her mad ideas. Thank God. What do you think about this story and its characters? Leave some likes, tell us your opinion in the comments below, and share the video with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more new and interesting stories.